We'll see definitively a lot of anger already now, but probably increase by the end of the year, because this crisis will be with us until we really have found a remedy. So we have to prepare for a more angry world.
All right, so I didn't want to have to make this video, but I just thought that I should be honest and talk about my experience that I've been dealing with and been tormented by and fighting for. It just recently left, but basically I just want to get straight to the story. So the devil tried to possess me from this day, last Sunday, not this Sunday, not this recently Sunday that we just had, last Sunday. I just wanted to just get to the stories. 8 or 7 months ago, I was hospitalized because around this time I was really going through it mentally, and I had just went to a homeless shelter. And when you get to a homeless shelter and you're just going through it, like I actually just came out from I just ended up in a homeless shelter. I was depressed. I was dealing with depression, lots of anxiety, even through my old life as a Christian, diagnosed bipolar, but never dealt with aggression on this level. If I were ever get really mad, it was something that triggered, like it was a cause behind it. It didn't torment me like that. And I really don't know why this happened or what could have caused it, because I've never in my life dealt with voodoo or witchcraft or anything of that nature. I don't know. I never been, not to my knowledge, known anyone who knows how to do that. I would like to believe that I'm covered by the blood of Jesus, and I had just got baptized at this time. So it was like a few months after my baptism of last year. And another thing around this time that I was doing, the only thing that I was doing at this time, I was celibate. I wasn't with nobody. I've had no relations with no one. I wasn't doing anything that would transfer spirits onto me. The most that I was doing at this time was inhaling or smoking Pt. Never in my life, even before as a Christian, smoking Pt has caused a possession in me. Anyways, but around this time, I think I had stopped or whatever, and then I went back to doing it. That was the only thing I was doing around this time. And then another thing, like I couldn't sleep. My sleeping was really, really bad. So that was another reason why I was at this time was habitually inhaling Pt, because I could not sleep for nothing. Like no matter what I did, I could not go to sleep, and this would last for months at a time. And I was taking medication. The medication stopped working. Nothing would work to help me to go to sleep. Nothing they prescribed me would help me to go to sleep. I asked God, but to be honest, I really don't want to know. I'm just glad that I got delivered from it. I've always dealt with mental health issues and self-harming, but just to get back to the story, I strongly felt it in my spirit not to keep taking medication, not to be medicated, not to take the medication for mental health. But I went to that hospital, felt something come over me, like come into me, or I don't know why, how. I felt this tormenting anger. I didn't know, I thought it was me, but I knew it was something else. It had to be something else. I was crying in tears, I was praying. I never felt so much anger in my life. I never felt this type of anger. But it lasted so long, I started believing that it was me. Everything I was going through, this pain, I identify with that anger as my anger. Pain anger, rejection anger. But this anger just felt like something else. It just came over me. I could feel the anger in my head. And I was praying to God, it would go away and it would come back. I would pray. And this was all in the hospital. And I knew from that point that this was something that I was going to have to fight. I didn't understand what it was, how it came about, if someone put witchcraft voodoo on me, or I don't know. And at this point, I don't even want to know. It was tormenting me day and night. I was already, and I wasn't even angry. I didn't even go to the hospital for anger. I went for stuff like depression, anxiety, not anger. I never dealt with this type of anger, so I didn't know how to deal with it. I just was praying and praying and praying. They would give me medication because I was crying. I was in tears. I couldn't take it no more. So they had to give me medication. I couldn't deal with it. I didn't know what this was. I was like, oh, my bipolar took a different dimension in life. I would take the medication and it would go away. But I just felt this time as a Christian, I refuse to just take this medication, just treat this. I'd rather fight this in the spirit. Because even though I still felt like it was me, it was part of my mental health, I knew it was something else. Because this didn't feel like some anger that I could hold humanly. I hated everyone. I fought this for 7-8 months ever since. And that was another, so I started even smoking heavier on the POT because of this tormenting anger. Sometimes I would just feel it right here. And it would just, I would pray, I would try to fight in spirit, but I just wasn't strong enough. I always had to restrain myself. But I remember texting my friends a lot of stuff. I remember I went into the city of Miami. And I was just in the city, right? And I just felt so much hate towards everyone. I was thinking like I want them all to burn. I was thinking all this stuff, and I texted my friend. I didn't understand why I texted her that way. Why somebody else makes me so angry? The world is already angry. I already don't like people personally. My anxiety just tends for me to like stare away. But I texted her so many ugly things about how angry I was and how people made me angry. I didn't know why people was making me, just be in the city around other people. Like, I was going off. Just being someone just walking close to me just made me angry. With so much hate and anger, and I'm so heavy on my heart. I was just fighting it. I had to restrain myself. I was just saying, with my struggle with it, I was saying a lot of stuff, a lot of dark stuff. I would feel a lot of dark things. Felt so much from it. So just to get it out, I would just say a lot of wicked things, like, oh, I wish this person would burn or whatever. And I started to think that maybe it's something in the air possessing me, tormenting me. Maybe it's the way people's hearts are, and I don't know what it was. And I'm just like the chosen one or something. I just couldn't figure it out what it was. I apologized. Sorry, I didn't mean it. I apologize to my friend. But I really didn't feel bad. I really didn't feel sorry. Like, that's another indicator that let me know that it wasn't me. And at this time, I remember I had also bumped into one of my friends, but we're not friends no more. Like, I was hanging around his mom a lot. And, me and him, like, no sexual relations or nothing like that. Even though he tried, but that's a different video. I remember before he left Miami, he moved to Tampa. But he said that before he left, he was going through the same thing. Like, he just had so much anger. He didn't know why. He was just going out for people, going out for everyone in his family. Just so much anger. And he was just very angry. Stressed out, angry. And until he moved to Tampa, he said he felt different. He felt better. I felt like he was on his spiritual journey too with God. And he just felt better. He felt more at peace. But a lot of people in Miami kind of tell me that they deal with anger. Like, a lot of people around here are very angry. But mine was tormenting me. It's anger that I could literally feel. My heart was burning on the inside out. I was so filled with so much hate and anger. I could never hate somebody. Just me personally, I could never hate somebody. But it lasted so long. And even after, I forgot to include, I started really taking my walk of faith serious. Pretty much after the hospitalization, I stopped smoking POT. So I wasn't even smoking POT at this point. I wasn't doing nothing. I was really just exercising my faith, really just relying on God. And that was I knew it was going to be really hard for me because I was dependent on POT heavy for sleep and to deal with this anger that I didn't know where it was coming from. So as I stopped doing that, because smoking POT kept it at bay. But I got to the point where I didn't want to I didn't want my emotions to be altered. I wanted to be real, to know that I'm really dealing with this. But after this, I didn't have no more hospitalizations. I was literally fighting in spirit. I didn't know what else to do, and I started believing. I didn't know. I felt maybe it was just the way the world is. I need to do more for my life. I need to make something out of myself. So I decided to, I ended up going to this boxing gym. And it ended up being the biggest regret. One of my biggest regrets. Knowing this anger. And this is where I started realizing that, this isn't me. I went off on my friend's mom. I have deep respect for her. I went off on her. And I would never went off on her like that. I went off on my blood sister because I'm adopted. And I don't really know my biological family like that. I went off on her. Crazy. Just blazy went off on her. Thank you. I cold. I don't, like, that's never really been part of my MO.